Okay, this is exciting.
Yeah, this is cool. It's surreal to be on the other side of the screen with you now.
Yeah. Wait a second, let me just post it on our Discord server, and we'll be good to go. Now, currently in the background, I have the Gabriel Knight 2 theme music playing, like a piano cover of the theme music for Gabriel Knight 2. So, I wanted to keep the theme music for the Phantom Fellows a surprise. I really like it. So when I prepared for this live stream, then I had it running in the background because I tried to work on the layout itself.
Right.
And I had it running in the background, and it's really addictive.
Ah, thanks really for saying that, man. Thank you. I'm doing weird things with my hands. I don't know where to put them here. Here we go. Okay.
Do what they do in those Apple presentations, like place them together, like interlock the fingers in a way.
Right.
This new game has all of the features. This new game is our best game yet.
I get it. Okay, so that's strategic. They're like locking them together so they can't move them or do weird things with them. Right?
Yeah, and because that's the only way to keep your posture without looking weird while you're standing up, because otherwise you need to do things with your hands, either move them too much or place them in the sides of your body, and that looks even weirder. So interlock them for the remainder of the live stream and you'll be good.
I have too much Italian in me, I think, to be able to constrain them.
Okay. Hi everyone, and welcome to TextPlay, the show where I get to play amazing games with the people behind them. And today, I'm going to play the Phantom Fellows with none other than Paul Korman, who actually created the game for the past couple of years. And we're going to talk to him about the game, and we're also going to play the game. And at the end of the live stream, we're going to do a Wheel of Curtis if we reach our goal. And whoever wins gets a copy of the game. So all in all, it's very Phantom Fellows themed today. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm going to start off by thanking our Patreon members. Thank you to our Patreon members over here, $10, top tier, and $20. Special thank you to Alan Fredrickson and Sweet Cashmere, who just joined us this past month. And also thank you to our top 7 coffee donors in the past 30 days. Catbread, which commissioned us to play Detroit Become Human for 2 episodes. So she's currently in the top spot. Top Fuel, Atlas Redux, CJ, Moffat Reborn, Jouex, that Star Wars guy. So thank you guys. Next week, I remind you all that we're going to have a marathon on Saturday. Me and Paul are going to do a 4-hour marathon with the ability to extend it according to our goals. If we reach the first goal, then we're going to do 5 hours. Then the second goal, we're going to do 6 hours. So don't forget to join us next week on Saturday for that live stream. That's it. Let me welcome Paul Korman. Hi, Paul.
Hi, ta-da. That was cool. I like that reveal. All right.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
where
me here. This is surreal. I've been watching your streams for a long time, and now I'm on the other side of the screen.
yeah, now you see the magic behind the screen, and it's not that fancy. It's just a guy with a webcam and OBS. And I see that Anna is also in the chat. So she'll be joining us virtually. So how are you, Paul?
I'm super good. I've been excited to come on here and chat with you for a long time. So this is one of those pre-release goals. And like when we get there one day, I'll be here. And then that's what's happening now. And it's super weird. A good weird. Most weirds are good weirds.
Yeah, if this were a Kickstarter, then this would have been one of the achievement goals to have you and the very popular YouTube show Text Play. And so we were supposed to have this live stream last week, like a day after the release of the Phantom Fellows, but we had to postpone it. So, but now at least I can get your perspective on how it is to have your game out there for a full week. How does it feel?
It's very strange. I feel like a vulnerable turtle. I just kind of poke my head out every now and then and kind of quickly glance. And the second I see one positive thing, I retreat and I just chew on that one positive thing all night. Like, oh, num num num, that was nourishment. People, that one person liked it, and so I've just been doing that basically, hourly or so. And when you see a new review comes in, just the heart rate just spikes and butterflies flood in, and just like, oh my god, and the judgment of the public is here for you, and it's like, wow, this is super intense. But it's been the reviews that I've been getting have been awesome, and there's been some particularly touching ones, and yeah, I don't think it could have asked for a better week.
Awesome. And it's great that you're focusing on the positive reviews. I don't know if there are any negative reviews because the game looks awesome, but it's great that you're
Thank you.
focusing on the positive reviews because people like me often focus on the negative reviews. So you can write all of the positive comments you want, but that negative review is going to ruin my week so much.
Right. No, I'm not above that. I saw one negative comment from my demo from 3 years ago last night, and it it ruined 9 minutes of my night. And it was, a 3-year-old comment about like the old demo. So yeah, I'm not above that. So I'm very, very turtly, very careful about sticking my head out and seeing anything. But sincerely, there's only been positive so far, which is suspect, but good.
So you're on your way to how does it work on Steam? You have the very positive or extremely, you have overwhelmingly positive when you get to 500 good reviews. And then I think 100 is positive, and then 250 is, I don't know. Do you check these stats to see if you're reaching the positive and overwhelmingly positive?
No, in fact, I was just taking notes because you're teaching me where the, where the goals are. Yeah, I have no idea what is what. I haven't even checked like the sales yet. I checked in the 4 years this was in development. I checked the wish list numbers about 3 times because I have a proclivity to get stuck on numbers or using numbers as like some sort of judgment onto the work itself, and I just stayed focused on making the game, stayed in a happy place, and didn't look at the numbers, and I'm still just kind of not looking at them. And yeah, luckily I've got really good friends all around that'll point out if there's a catastrophe to deal with or something like that. But mostly they're just sending me like particularly positive things to read, and yeah, I'm staying purposely naive about it all.
So when you're saying 4 years, that means that you started working on it at the start of COVID, basically in 2020.
I did, yeah. It was like November 12th, 2019. I just found in my phone's little note app the other day, like the exact starting point for this whole thing, because I was curious, just having a moment, a little sentimental moment. Like, when did this all start? I remember, uh, like my memory of it is extremely vivid of like being downstairs in the bedroom, and like I remember my son was asleep. Like I remember the whole atmosphere of it, and just being like, I really want to do something. My son was 5. I'm an only parent to him, so I feel like a lot of weight on me to be impressive, to be the best dad I can be, let's say. And so I was like, I really want to do something that I love doing around him, so that when he grows up seeing his dad like pursuing goals and, just all that super healthy, encouraging stuff. So I was like, let's do the thing you want to do, and that'll only be good for him to observe. And so I sat down and I was like, okay, I want to make a game. I don't really have a story to tell, but I love adventure games, and I've been kind of taking them apart, and I don't want to say critiquing them because I'm bad at critiquing, but taking them apart for years on the podcast that I do with Anna, cggpodcast.com. And I was like, let's just make like this adventure game that you want to play. Put all the things in it that you want. I feel like there's so many adventure games that have like the one cool thing you want. And I was like, let's make a best of. And so yeah, I just sat there on the phone and just started putting this little wish list together of like everything my game would be, and what it might look like upon release. And yeah, that's how it started. November 2019, and then I think I started actually making it just before COVID in 2020 there.
Wow. So you wished for like 2 years to stay in-house and work on the game, and you got it. You basically jinxed all of us and had time to actually work on the game.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Miraculously.
And did you know that you're going to use AGS from the get-go, or?
I did. Yeah, I was a big fan of AGS. I don't know if it's weird to say, like, to be a fan of an engine, but I suppose anybody familiar with it and its community and its, constant influx of fan games, I would check AGS like every month or three and download the latest little, musings that people put out there. And leading up to making the game, like the 4 or 5 years before I actually committed, I would go on there and like download the latest version of AGS, just kind of stalking my prey or something, like courting the idea of it. I'd download random pixel art apps and be like, not yet, but one day. And I've got this app here when I'm ready. And yeah, just it all came together. I guess COVID was kind of a coincidence, because I did start making it about like 3 or 4 months before COVID. It helped. And it's weird to say that, but yeah.
Well, it helped all of us, because most of the YouTube channels that we now know usually started during COVID. Not talking about the classic YouTube channels, but a lot of them started, even Conversations with Curtis started in COVID, because Paul didn't have any other things to do, because most of the shows of his company, Letters Aloud, were canceled because of COVID, because usually they'd go to schools to present. So, COVID had its good sides as well, including this game.
Yeah. Thank you. Shucks.
So when you're talking about the list of things that you want to add to your own game, did you also have a list of adventure game tropes that you made sure that would never be part of any of your games, especially this one?
I love that framing. That's cool. I've not come across that one yet. Great question. Man, yeah, yes. It's almost hard to boil it down to a single trope, but I didn't want it to sound. I think a lot of adventure games err on the side of proper, of like being grammatically proper, and almost at the expense of immersion sometimes. Like, it's just, maybe that's not quite it. It's like sometimes even with podcasts or YouTube channels or adventure games, they try to just sound like what it should sound like. You'll listen to a podcast and you'll be like, they're just trying to sound like what a podcast should sound like, and it's very tropey and formulaic. And for my game, I wanted it to read closer to how we actually talk than, tilt the scale more towards casual than, formal and grammatically rigid. So that it's weird, because I know that's not necessarily a trope, but it was, kind of almost raging against the entire structure of it to try to bring it modern. Because I think one thing that's worth addressing in a sense is that we all communicate via text nowadays, and that's for a narrative game, it's kind of interesting. The way that we actually type and read things nowadays is quite different than it used to be. Then it doesn't have to be so formal. That's not to say like I didn't want to play it too fast and loose. I didn't want to be sloppy. There's no like LOLs in the game necessarily, so I'm trying to keep it pretty tight, but at the same time just relax it a little bit. And then that plus minimal references, zero Monkey Island references.
Zero Monkey Island references. Well, that's a first. Usually people plaster their games with Monkey Island references and adventure game references in general. And I know that a lot of indie game developers, call for a time in which they'll stop doing that and they'll stop even comparing newer games to those classic games, because if we keep comparing them, then we'll always have the same type of jokes and the same type of gameplay, and the verbs at the bottom and those specific verbs. And for this genre to continue thriving in the future, not that it ever thrived, but hopefully it will thrive in the future, things need to change a bit, especially for newer generations that either are not impressed by any of our nostalgic feelings towards those games because they never played them, or just to make it more engaging for them. That's my...
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I feel, well, I need to call myself out because it is not free from references. There's a horse named Rosella, things like this. I tried to be somewhat underhand about it. I just recently I recently replayed a game called A Twisted Tale by a very lovely developer named Ava, and she handled it in a really cool way that if had I seen that with enough time, I might have done something similar where everything's kept to like a singular room. In A Twisted Tales case, it's like an antique shop, and I thought that was actually really fun because it's like it's indulgent. You get to like almost get it out of your system and see familiar things around the room. It reminds me of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where in his office there's like Sam and Max in the corner and just little familiarities.
Mhm.
So I think it can be, I guess what I'm saying is it can be done right if it's done with care, as in that case. But yeah, that was maybe when I started development too. It's worth noting that it became we were in the thick of it at that point. Games were really, really going pretty hard on it. So I felt, yeah. But it's not just references too. There's things like writing a comedy with two people, as the Phantom Fellows is, like a buddy comedy. There's a tendency to do this trope of like straight guy, stupid guy, like Chris Farley and David Spade sort of thing. And I didn't want to do that because I don't know why. I guess because it's just been done a lot. Like I like it. It's nothing against it. It's great for comedy, especially when you have a stupid guy and you have that kind of contrast. But there were little things on my radar that I was like, I want to try to avoid this as much as possible. And that's not to say that Oliver, the breather, the alive one in my game, it's not to say that he's not occasionally stupid or makes poor decisions, but not to be like overtly, the dumb guy.
The breather is your terminology to alive?
Yeah, because it's hard because you always want to say like the human, but it's like, well, they're both human. So yeah, I went with breather and floater.
Gotcha. So again, the reference, I get the references, but are there any tropes from classic games that you try to avoid? I don't know, accidental deaths, obtuse puzzles, things like that? Or did you implement
sure,
all of this into the game? Like from the get-go, I'll start the game and I'll die.
Right, that's true. You will, but there'll be a rewind button. So maybe that's a decent example of it. There's one. The game takes place over 7 days. Each day is a case. There's an overarching story that starts to brew around the 4th day, and therefore the overarching runs day 4 through 7, and kind of day 7 is there to conclude that overarching story. But that being said, there's a death per day for the first 5 days, just one death. And there's a rewind button, so that's maybe a decent way to answer the question in a sense, or where it's like I did indulge in like the Sierra punny death messages because I grew up on that kind of stuff and really liked it. So there is a death today, but there's a rewind button. So trying to bring that modern dev into it. There's no dead ends. There's a ton of alternate puzzle solutions. Yeah, I guess I did look at like what adventure games weren't doing that I wanted to do. And another example of that might be like logical. That's a slippery slope if I use that word. Almost like real life puzzle solutions in a sense. So an example would be there'd be times in adventure games where you would see earlier in the game like a screwdriver and you need one now, but you can't just go get the thing. And you're like, I know I saw a screwdriver. Please just let me go get the screwdriver, but you can't. Instead, you end up having to do some adventure gamey solution where you're like taking a fence apart and using tape and metal or whatever adventure game logic. So with this game, that was one of the early goals. Was like let's do it this way. If there's something earlier in the game that they can use now, that'll be kind of the alternate puzzle solutions. And so what that looks like is like day three, a map opens up, and from day three through the end of the game, you can travel back to previous locations. And I really try to reward exploration because, like, growing up, especially with like Parser Sierra games, I know, sorry, Daniel, but growing up with those types of games, it was so much fun to just look all around the room and get all the explanations, and everything was always unique. And not everything was a banger, but at least everything was fresh and unique. And I just love being rewarded for my exploration. So that was a huge goal in this game where it's like encourage them to explore, but make sure you reward them for doing it, or else it'll be a bad faith agreement, I guess you could say. So once that map opens up, people can go back to previous locations, and the game makes it really clear, like you don't have to go back, because I think it'll be overwhelming to players to be like, well, now the whole world's open, and who knows where the solution lies. So it's like you can always solve the case by just staying where you are. But if you want to go back, you can go back, and you might find an object that'll help for an alternate solution, or you'll get like a fresh dialogue, a fresh little bit with the people that you just harassed the previous day.
Awesome. So before we start the game, one final question: Sierra or LucasArts?
Oh man, I'm gonna go hard no comment on that. No, Sierra. It's got to be Sierra. I love them both. We need them both, but Sierra's on the 60-40 there.
60-40. Wow. Okay. Live
It might
stream
be
over.
70-30.
70-30. What do you have against LucasArts?
They're too good. Everything's just too perfect. Not enough rage. Not enough unfair. No, LucasArts is perfect. I have a little more nostalgia for like the AGI parser things, but I'll put it this way: I think Sierra was better at rewarding and encouraging exploration, and I think LucasArts was better at storytelling.
How did Sierra reward exploration? Because you die if you go to the wrong screen. That's not exactly rewarding exploration.
But sometimes you wouldn't die, and that was the reward.
Here, Anna in the chat says, for me, mostly nostalgia. Sierra takes my 90%. So now that Anna is blocked in the chat, we can continue playing. Okay, so this is the theme music I've been listening to this past day, and it's awesome.
Thank you.
Is the soundtrack available?
Yes, soundtrack's available on Bandcamp and GOG.
Okay.
It's
Is
about
it
to be available on GOG.
As a DLC? Will it be available on Steam?
Not right now. I'm kind of trying to make that a GOG exclusive sort of thing. It's not like I've done any research into that or have a whole ton of thought behind it, but I'm like, I'll just leave it on GOG for now, because I am trying to nudge people to buy it on GOG as opposed to Steam. And GOG has 150 achievements, and Steam only has 100 only.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
it's too many achievements.
No, it's too little on Steam.
Yeah, they limit you. I'm not sure why. I think it can be raised once you're established with them, but yeah, there's an initial limitation with Steam to 100.
Well, so 100 achievements, 150 on GOG for how much gameplay time is there in this game?
There's a lot. My internal numbers are a little bit messed up right now as seeing the public play and coming with some wildly different times, but it seems like if you try to get through the game, you're not there to see everything there's to be seen. You're playing to win, I guess you could say. It looks like it's between 12 and 16 hours. And if you are playing trying to see everything there's to be seen, switching from Oliver to Engelbert, because in the game everything's a hotspot. So for every single thing in a room, Oliver can look and interact at it, and Engelbert can look and interact at it. So, and when I say everything, I mean like the sky is a hotspot, the stars are a hotspot, and the moon is a hotspot. So it's like everything's a hotspot. 4 lines for everything between the two characters. That's why it took so long to make, probably.
Yeah.
But that being said, if you're playing it that way to really see everything there is to be seen, and I do encourage it, because there's not a single line of dialogue in this game that's a throw-in. Like at no point was I just like, that's a star in the sky. Like everything has some sort of love or some sort of momentary overthought that went into it. So if you play it that way, it looks like it's more like 22 to 24 hours.
Wow. No wonder it took you 4 years. Okay. Let's play. To ensure you have an immersive experience, here are 4 quick tips and a glance at the controls. Everything is a hotspot. Amazing. Wait, people in the chat need to tell me if the volume is too high for the music and if they can actually hear us. Okay. Look before touching. This is bad advice in general. Dialogue-based hint system, flexible navigation. Okay. Okay.
And this is because the game, it can be played like classic Sierra point-and-click style. But as odd as it sounds, I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't think there is an ideal point-and-click interface. And Daniel, as you know from listening to our podcast, we beat that to death for years now. But essentially, the Sierra point-and-click seems to me to be the best for a comedy because it gives you a bunch of different options. But I hate the right-click cycling through cursors. And while I did do something there, I can nerdily get into later to try and help that or intervene on it a bit, I'm still mostly nudging people towards the keyboard because I think it's, I don't know, more precise.
Okay, I'll use both.
There you go.
Even though I didn't play the Sierra games, the text parser Sierra games. I started playing Sierra games when they added mouse control.
Got it. Okay.
Player swap, F1, F2. Okay. I'm invested. Already invested. Thank you for coming, Mr. Cobblestone. Of course, and please call me Oliver. You want to do it? You want to take turns?
Sure. In 4 years, I don't think I've ever read Oliver's lines out loud before. Weird.
Okay.
Of course, and please call me Oliver. I never did get your name, Miss.
Okay, so this ghost has been terrifying me since I moved in, and I can't take much more. If it gives me one more jump scare, I'm going to start punching the air until something lands.
As one would.
In fact, if you can't get rid of it, I'm going to have to sell the place.
Ugh, moving. Gross.
I will throat punch a ghost if I have to. Don't think I won't.
Well, you don't have to stress anymore, Miss.
I just don't know where the throat is.
I actually struggle with that a lot in my professional life. Fortunately, ineffective violence won't be necessary. I've already detected the occupying spirit. It's what we call Iquensu Ocha, common in antiquated homes like yours.
Some sort of palsy, and anyway, that's how I died pickling eggs. Wait, did he just call me White Devil?
It will require a makeshift exorcism crafted from familiar items in its dwellings. But don't worry, this will all be over with in time for dinner.
So do we have a deal? What? You ask me how I died and then follow that with do we have a deal? Do we not? Look, I obviously see what's going on. I leave Anna. Is this Anna from the Classic Gamers Guild podcast? There alone. And your Shelby friend gets paid. How about we restart with what's in it for me? I have scouted a lakeside property for you with no pets. How could it be for me? Just met me. Well, for cases with ghosts of your type, my type, the pranky type. That's fair. Continue. The breather. Hey! They actually call him a breather in the game. That lives there, has exquisite taste in music, elderly parents, creaky wood floors, and lots of small, throwable items. They also have a bidet. Like that one. Deal. You had me at bidet. You had me at the last thing you said. Okay, but listen. Do not turn that thing to full power. You could really hurt someone with the water pressure. I love a stern warning regarding a bidet. It's like that SNL skit about Zach Galifianakis having a bidet in the hotel room. Never mind. Okay.
All right, just sit tight for a few minutes while I while I set the stage and banish the spirit.
Okay, so now we have control. Now I have to ask you, because it does sound as if it sounds like people actually talking and not someone writing what people should say. And so I wonder if you had to record the lines and then write them down, or did you actually write it down that way?
Wrote it down that way. And you on a personal level, Danny, for me messaging you could probably immediately sense that in a way. I think I tend to speak to almost everybody just in that exact sort of way, where it's just say the thought, and sometimes it's a little wordy on my friends, so I apologize, but yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so now I have control. With the right click, I'm switching between look at, pick up, talk. What's this?
Okay, so that was my little intervention with the cycling. So my suspicion was that maybe people struggled with cycling, because when you watch people cycle, especially on playthroughs, they always miss it the first time. It's always at least 2 times around. Somebody called it, I think it was one short, I called it the carousel or something like that. But one of my ideas was with Sierra games, if you don't have an inventory item, the amount of cycles changes as to when you do. Mm-hmm. So I put this fanny pack in there to say that no matter how many times you cycle, it'll always be consistent. And then since the fanny pack should probably do something, you can click it anywhere on the screen to open up the inventory.
Wow, that's a great idea. Well done.
Thank you. Thanks.
So, okay, and I can also move the keyboard.
Yes.
And I noticed that in the options, you can switch between janitor walking and regular walking. And I presume this is a reference to Space Quest?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, it was, this one was almost, I guess, inspired by Thimbleby Park, because Ron Gilbert put in that toilet paper thing, if you remember, where people were outraged that his initial design had the toilet paper the wrong way, so he put a switch in there where you could switch the toilet paper to the objectively correct way. And I was like, I want something stupid like that in my game. So Oliver's first walk cycle was a direct copy of Roger Wilco's walk in Space Quest 3. Basically, all the Sierra walks in that era had this jolly armed thing going on. And I used that to just learn how to do a walk cycle. And I was like, I already have this drawn. Let's make that the stupid thing.
And, Ron Gilbert was right about adding this feature, because we're not psychopaths. There's only one way to place a toilet paper. And that wasn't the way it was placed in the original game.
Right, I'm relieved to hear you say that.
Okay, so I can also walk using the mouse. Okay, is this chainsaw fuel? I now
possess 1 jug of car juice.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it here so the room still has a conversation starter. This is my least favorite wall in the basement.
So I can look at everything?
Everything. The light is ineffective yet dramatic. It's me when I'm tired.
Yeah, we talked about this before the live stream. Times were effective and when they were ineffective.
Exactly. It's a ventilation duct. I'd like to think there's a tiny Bruce Willis crawling around in there, all cranky and barefoot. You know, it's funny, that joke doesn't really work anymore, and I never did cut it before release. The ventilation duct used to look more industrial. It was like very like more like a modern ventilation duct as what he crawls through in Die Hard. And ever since I changed it to that, more fitting but like great design, I'm like, I don't think the joke works anymore. I should have cut that. Anyway.
Well, his ventilation duct is square and this one is round. Still works.
Yeah, that one almost looks more sewage. Yeah. I still might change that. I took the glitter, which means I'm going to be picking it off me for the next 3 months.
So wait, what are the shortcuts for the actions?
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and then I tried to rhyme it. 1, 2, 3, LIT. Look, interact, touch. So 1 look, 2 interact, 3 touch.
And where's walk to?
Walk is secretly 4. It might be 5 actually.
5.
You know that. Yeah.
4 is the inventory. 5 is the walk to. 1, 2, 3.
The reason I didn't prioritize the walk one is because I figure if you're going full keyboard, you'll use arrows for walk anyway.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's look at my inventory. So I have glitter, industrial strength glitter, car juice, 1 metric jug of gasoline. So Ozzy in the chat says, I have played through some of this game and I have enjoyed it so far.
Yay, thank you. Honestly, it feels really nice.
Okay, let's see. So can I talk to them? Let's give it a try.
Yes, with an asterisk mark, yeah. Alright, what's the lowdown? Does the spirit want anything from me?
No, it appears your awesome ability to, be alive will not be needed today. It is going to be an easy case. And this is another case of them sounding as exactly how people actually talk with a you wouldn't see
right.
in an adventure game. So I like this.
Right. Oh, thank you. So what do we do? What do we got to do?
Just the minimum required to make Anna from the Classic Gamers Guild podcast think a ghost was just exorcised or purged from her basement. Meanwhile, Russ here will head out after he and I finish talking.
So we'd agree to leave?
His name is Russ. He's standing right next to me and can hear you. But yes, he's moving to the house that I scouted last week.
The house that we scouted.
Russ was...
Actually, wait, was I there?
Russ was...
I wasn't. Dude, my bad. You're right. The house that you scouted.
Russ was just curing his boredom by having some laughs at our client's expense. So should I go over all of the dialogue options? Does it tell me when I run out of, new replies on a certain subject?
That was a really tough one to figure out. HGS doesn't seem to allow me to change the color or gray things out. So basically, I take them away if they're superfluous, but if they have some sort of crucial information, I don't take them away.
Gotcha.
All right, what's the lowdown? Does the spirit want anything from me? All right, I think we covered this one.
Okay, so it's the same one. Okay. Awesome. Gossip.
So, what are you two talking about? Are you reminiscing about the good old days, like before that pesky electricity came along and made haunting difficult?
Amongst other things, yeah.
Like how much better things were when they were heavy?
Wool and iron are superior to cotton and steel for many reasons. Are we really going to do this now? Because I will absolutely do this now.
Fine, no. And hey, next time we're around a nice wool sweater, I'll describe what it feels like for you.
would like that very much. Find a reason to stop talking.
All right, I'm off to put on a little show. People need to see to believe, Sal.
I hope you literally break your tibia.
What? Are you trying to wish me luck?
Is that what you consider lucky? Look, if you need more help, come talk to me after you gather some items in the room so we know what we have to work with. Well, I have gathered, so I need to... I'll figure it out myself. Let's see if I can pick up more items over here.
I'm gonna leave it so the room still has its conversation starter.
Oh, that's right. What was this little thing?
A compressed stick of minute marine organisms such as Formifera, Coccolus, and Rhodolus. I've never read this out loud.
Chalk.
Chalk. Yeah, it's chalk. Got the chalk.
I love this. So the thing is, when I started playing this earlier today, like I said, when I was preparing the layout, one thing I remember liking so much about non-talkie games is the fact that when you're working on solving a certain puzzle or just exploring, then you can just focus on the music itself and not the voices. You know, in my conversation with Michael Land last year, I asked him if he would have composed the soundtrack to Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge, differently if he would have known that it would be voiced, because it was voiced like years later in the remaster. And he said that he would, because usually when you... in non-talkie games, the music can be more prominent, and in talkie games, you're trying to make the music more subtle so that it won't overpower the voices. So I guess I just miss non-talkie games more than I knew.
Huh.
And I figured
It's
out...
kind of
Yeah, go ahead.
it was kind of mind-blowing to hear. I've never thought about that. I mean, I've never, I guess, been in a position to need to, but yeah, that's really interesting. You would have to... The music is at risk of competing with the voices, I suppose, so it would have to be even more... and that just sounds like a challenge, because at least for me, it's already hard to keep the music engaging without being flamboyant. Like, the temptation making music is to make it fun or to add, you know... It's got to be really hard, in other words, to fully yield to talkie.
So in movies nowadays, it's the same thing. If I ask you to, play the theme to Back to the Future or Forrest Gump or any of the 90s movies, then you can play the basic theme and know that each one of these themes in Indiana Jones and Star Wars are very prominent. But in newer movies, like, you can't think of one musical cue from a Marvel movie in the past 20 years, because they just try to make the music very subtle and not overpower the voices, even though, movies were voiced for the past century or so. But it's the same thing with games. I feel like games no longer have prominent musical cues, and it bothers me. But this one does. So,
well, thank you for that. And it's a really good point. It's like, you don't know the Avengers, Marvel Avengers theme. I mean, I don't want to project that onto everybody, but for the most part, it's not quite in that same ballpark as a Star Wars or Indiana Jones. And it seems like everything in movies nowadays, too, they try to play things very safe. And I to your sentiments, I really miss when there were films where the score was like a character in the film itself, like Blade Runner. Like, the music was like a part of the ambiance. And now it just feels everything's just very safe and very, better not draw too much attention in case somebody doesn't like it, or, yeah, that's interesting. I'll now that I can have some time to play some games, pay attention to that as well.
Yeah, it seems like movies that have world building, like Dune or Blade Runner 2049, which was released 7 years ago, in the scenes in which there is the world building without much dialogue, then you have prominent music. But
Right.
most movies don't have any world building in them. They just constant dialogue and action scenes. So we don't need any prominent music in any of these type of scenes. So the only movies that still try to do world building, just like adventure games try to give you a musical cue for your exploration. So that's a similar
Yeah,
concept to
100%.
both.
It's funny you bring up 2049 and Dune because I think they're both Denis Villeneuve or something like that, and he's quite brilliant. He seems to be really just the top of his game. They really appreciate. I hate to sound like this, that's why I'm trying to duck it, but I can't. He just seems to really enjoy the art of cinematography, and I remember hearing him say a quote recently where he's like, and I don't necessarily fully agree with this, but I enjoyed the sentiment where he said, dialogue is for TV shows. In a movie, you shouldn't need dialogue to evoke emotions. And as a huge fan of Quentin Tarantino's films, like I don't fully agree, but I also agree. Like there is a time and a place or a certain type of movie like Blade Runner 2049 where the dialogue isn't the most important thing, or maybe more to his point that you can evoke plenty of emotion just in atmosphere and ambiance.
True. And up until I saw Dune 2 at the theater, Blade Runner 2049 was my favorite cinematic experience from recent years. And then when Dune 2 came out and I watched it on IMAX, then it became my most recent preferred cinematic experience.
Okay, I haven't seen it. Now I regret not going to see it when you put it that way. I'm definitely going to watch it though.
Did you at least watch it on TV?
Yeah.
Okay. Whenever Dune 3 comes out and they start playing Dune 2 again at the cinema,
Right.
go watch it. Okay.
Good call. Okay.
Eloquently seek information.
So, do you get Pooford here, Lawton?
Dude, what?
Sorry, your eyebrows made me nervous. Let me try that again.
Take two.
So, do you get haunted here often?
Every time I go back up those stairs, I'm in a complete panic.
What is a typical haunting like?
Whatever it is, it likes to throw things around down here and slam the door behind me.
Ghosts are so dramatic. So does all the paranormal activity take place here in the basement?
Pretty much, this is where it's most obvious, but I do hear strange noises upstairs too.
Strange, like weird?
Yeah, like when I'm trying to relax, I hear what can only be described as someone eating pudding on a treadmill. Wow, okay. Bonus round.
Anything else I should know? Like any other odd goings on down here?
Well, the furnace is often bizarrely cold. I can sometimes stand right next to the flames and catch chill.
Yeah, see, I'm glad you called me. Fire is usually like, it's actually pretty hot. Well, it's supposed to be anyway.
Indeed.
Indubitably indeed. Is there a particular item
Wait,
of
did we
favors?
read this one?
Did we?
No. Unfortunately, it throws basically everything down here, which isn't much, just what's on the shelf.
So how does everything end up back on the shelf?
Oh, I put it all back each time. Look, I can't have a house that's haunted and messy.
Well, you really shouldn't enable these childish tantrums. Frankly, if the spirit wants to throw things, it should learn to put them back for next time.
Ozzy in the chat says, with non-talking games, I've come up with voices in my head, and sometimes I can't keep them all straight. Well, it's funny because that's how I felt when I played The Secret of Monkey Island, the remaster, because it came out in 2009 and the original came out in 1990. So getting a remaster like 19 years after the game is kind of weird. because you expect things to sound a certain way. Just like with the remaster of Day of the Tentacle, even though they used the original recordings, you've grown accustomed to the way they sounded when they were heavily compressed back in 1993, and having crisp sounds just sounds odd because you want them to sound compressed and, clipping every second.
Right, that's a very good point. Yeah, especially about 20 years later, like you've got headcanon at that point. So yeah, there's no way the voices would ever align with even the majority of the audience.
So if you ever consider voicing this game, now's the time to do it, because 20 years
Right.
from now, your fans might resent you.
Ghosts can be real dangerous, So.
I guess, they're for sure annoying. So,
Look, if something happens to me and I don't survive the evening, I just want you to know that I've always loved the idea of you.
good to know. Thank you, and I guess be careful.
I don't need it. I make my own.
I love this. This is the way conversations should end in adventure games. Walk away suddenly and without explanation.
I'm down to burn something, but not my own hand. At least not my eating hand.
Okay, so I need to open the inventory. Let's see. We have the inventory. That's 4. 4. Oh.
You could do the top-down menu or tab button.
Okay. Let's go to the inventory so I can burn the glitter. Ooh.
And that is exactly what should have happened.
There's a finite amount of glitter in the world, and we're just wasting it by... So are these lighting effects in AGS, or did you have to draw various keyframes with the different colors?
Yeah, all in Photoshop. So yeah, it's basically a tiny little animation.
Gotcha. Okay. Top menu, inventory. Let's burn the chalk.
Nah, these minute marine organisms such as Formifera, Coccoliths, and Rhodoliths have been through enough.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, this might be a bad idea, but let's give it a try.
No need. The chemicals I'm breathing in from the glitter is already killing me.
Okay, so we picked up everything on the shelf, right? What are these
and
things?
for the record, that would have been the death if you had done it before the glitter.
The placing the fuel in the
fire, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay, so can I take the batteries? Awesome.
Got the batteries.
I'm gonna use the keyboard for a sec. Okay. Can I burn the batteries? Can I try to burn them?
Oh, I actually got these for myself. Once every 3 years, I need D batteries for something I'm annoyed only takes batteries.
Okay. So
this would be a good time, at least to bring out the little marketing part of me and say it's a good time to try out the in-game hint system by talking to Engelbert.
Okay then.
See, because he's all old and dead and wise, so he kind of helps nudge Oliver along. And I basically, Daniel, are you familiar with the Universal Hint System, UHS?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I tried to implement that. So when you talk to Engelbert, he never tells you more than you want to know. He'll never like bum rush the solution, and he'll give you kind of exit points to be like, actually, let me try it with that little hint you gave me. But the more you persist, it'll eventually lead to the solution.
So they did a similar thing in Thimbleweed Park. At first, they didn't have a hint system, and then 3 months later, they added the toilet paper part and the hint system.
Oh,
The two
cool. See,
most important things.
Right, exactly, and that's cool. I didn't know that. I played Thimbleweed the day it came out and like for the 4 days after that because I wanted to play it before a walkthrough was available because I knew I'm weak and I would seek a walkthrough if it was available.
So 3 months after Thimbleweed Park was released, then they added the hint system, which is a phone number you can call and you get hints. You can ask for, at first you get a subtle hint, and then, just like the universal hint system you talked about. And they also added the ability to talk to other characters, because in the original version you couldn't talk to characters, and you couldn't talk to, the agents couldn't talk between themselves. And so they use that as a hint system as well, because when you talk to a different character, then you get more hints from that character, as opposed to not being able to talk to them at all. So
very cool.
They added 2 hint systems.
I love that game. It's brilliant.
Okay, where's the hint system?
So just talk to Engelbert.
Okay. I need help.
Engelbert, I asked my brain to do with a thinking, and it's just playing on hold music in response.
I remember when on-hold music was the sound of passing trees as we walked miles to who we wanted to talk to.
And normally I'd love to hear more about back when things were terrible, but I really do want some help. How am I supposed to stage a fake exorcism with a pocket full of nonsense?
Pocket full of nonsense is an exact description of any inventory at any point in any adventure game. Well, look, I will give you some hints if you need them, but I'm not telling you what to do, or you will never learn. What do I do?
Okay, so I know what to do, but I just want to hear you tell me what that is. To be safe.
Just use what you have to make it look as if something paranormal is happening. Think of it this way. Where do or where could the things you have go? Where do I do it?
I don't have a lot to work with in this basement, so where should I set this up?
Well, let's see. Let's see what you have to work with. Chalk. What do you usually do with chalk?
Right. Wait, I mean right.
Right. Working with what you have available here in the basement, where might be a nice open space to draw something on? The wall. Say no more. I got it. Okay. Got it.
So satisfying to see that going as planned.
Okay, but for example, the wall, how do I know it's a hotspot? You mentioned in the tutorial at the beginning that everything is a hotspot, but can I assume that everything is a hotspot when I try to use something on it?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had to really commit. Oh, great spirit from beyond.
Oh boy.
By the powers that I definitely have, I command you.
I'm gonna go ahead and leave now. Yes, it is going to be a tough watch. Listen, would you mind adding a bit of flair to your exit? Sure, why not? Might as well give her one last little freak out before I go. See you around, Engelbert. Oh wow, that really happened.
It's gone, and it will never bother you again.
Heh, Russell. I thought it would be scarier or darker. I wasn't expecting such flair.
What is a man if without pageantry? Is what I always say. Starting now. It's what I always say, starting now.
I feel like this character is you. As
It is,
is.
yeah. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
So,
Anna,
Anna.
how did you know my name?
Huh? What? No, I said Dana, which is stupid for dinner. And then dinner as in, do you want to, with me, go get some?
I kinda do too. And I so would have if you didn't do such an amazing job here tonight. But thanks to you, I finally feel comfortable in my own home, and I think I just want to enjoy that. That is a long no. See, Russ, I told... Oh, right, you're gone. I was just going to tell Russ... They are gone. Everyone's gone. Guess I shall just... Thank you for everything.
My pleasure. This has been pleasurable. So, how would you like to pay?
Pay?
Yeah, you know, I do a thing and you give me money for doing the thing.
On the phone you said you provide a complimentary service.
And when you answered the door, I said you had nice hair, like right away.
Complimentary means free.
It what?
Hey, you did a good job and a really nice thing for me. And I promise to recommend you to all my haunted friends. Good night, Oliver Cobblestone, and thank you. Would I? Maybe, I don't know. He is kinda shelpy. Date you, Phantasmagoria? Wow!
Yes.
We got a Phantasmagoria reference on Date You. Well done. Now I'm even more invested.
Pandering here. Another terrible day's sleep.
You woke me up to tell the whole world to keep it down and then passed back out, still shaking your fist.
I wish you wouldn't watch me sleep.
Then later you mumbled, I'm stuck as an octopus, please wake me. I lightly said your name to know the response and swiftly moved on.
Great. Well, putting that all behind us, I'm hoping tonight will be like last night, plus money.
Last night did seem suspiciously easy, too. Like when you have a pizza delivered. In hindsight, it is no wonder it was a bust.
Hey, that's not true. We found a new place for Gus, and
Russ.
we found a new place for what's his name, and I made that girl feel comfortable enough to not go on a date with me.
Good job? Wait, hold on, and guess what? I've honed a new ghost power.
No way, show me.
Okay, ready? Wait for it. The phone is about to ring. The phone finds itself ringing.
Your powers are as useless as they are oddly specific. Phantom Fellas, how may I help you? Uh-huh. I see. Very spooky. Okay, sir, I'm on my way. In the meantime, if you're barefoot or wearing sandals, please put some socks or shoes on. No time to explain. Trouble at the old farm. Okay, at a old farm. Doesn't matter. Where are my keys?
Hold it.
Ugh.
Before you try to help others put their lives in order.
I should have my own place together first. Yeah, I know. Okay, let me get some things that can maybe help us out tonight, and then we'll go.
Awesome. How many lines of dialogue are there in this game?
I can answer that as of like 2 days ago. I finally did a word count. There's about 152,000. No, sorry. That's incorrect. That's how many words. There are 17,000 lines.
17,000?
Yeah.
So it's the same as, I think, Full Throttle? Or maybe Full Throttle had 8,000. It's like, don't remember which game had 18,000. That's an oddly specific number. I think Brutal Legend had 18,000.
Brutal Legend.
Do you know Brutal Legend? With
No,
Jack
I was
Black
just trying to picture.
by Double Fine. That rock opera.
Right. Okay. I never played that. Is it good?
Yeah, it's great. Now, someone in the chat said something that I also think of. Anna said, I always skip through the voice because I read the text too quick. I have no patience, I guess. It's the same for me. Especially, you know, Sierra games used to have either text or voice, and not both in some games. So when you have just voice, then you have to listen to everything. But in LucasArts games, it was always text and voice. You can always choose that option. And when I'd finished reading the text, then I just skip the line by clicking the period button.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's a great point.
Okay. Let's see what we've got over here. So what's the actual resolution of the game?
The I should know that so much quicker offhand. It is 160 by 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like half of what the original adventure games of the 90s were. Like,
exactly. Yeah, literally half. And then so what I do is I do it at 160 by 100, and wait, is it one? Yeah, it is, because then 320, right? So yeah, I do it at 160 by 100, and then that's how I draw it, and then I double it to 320 by 200 and do the lighting effects in that resolution.
so the lighting effects need a higher resolution to look.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just a little too chunky.
So these are the lighting effects. So for example, the aura around the halo around the lamp and such.
Exactly. Yeah, Engelbert's glow, the lamps. Yeah.
And you can actually see that because the pixels of the lamp are much larger than the pixels of the gradient in the halo around the lamp.
Yeah.
Awesome. So all of the 90s games there, the Tentacle and the Dig and 7 Max, were all 320 by 200. So you're doing half that and then upscaling it and adding lighting effects. Gotcha.
Yes, exactly.
Let's open some drawers.
There's a black light and what was either an egg or an apple in here. I'll take the black light.
Okay.
Nothing good in here, just socks for my right foot.
Awesome. Is this a speck of dust? Is this just like Thimbleweed Park? I need to pick up specks of dust.
Not quite. That was tempting though. To do, that was a little wish list item that didn't make it. I couldn't think of my own spin on it. Got a belt.
Let's look at our inventory. So we have a flashlight, a black light, and a belt. How many locations are there in the game?
I don't know. That's a good question.
What?
Wait,
that's the first advertising blurb you add to a game description. Like you always say, you can always see adventure games from the 90s saying like 40 plus locations, and then it's like 41 locations, or 50 plus locations, and it's 51.
Right, that's a great point. Just a bunch of used pumice stones in here. Oh, and look at that. I already had D batteries.
Okay.
The usual. Socks, gloves for handling a porcupine, bottle of hydrochloric acid, a shot glass of maple syrup, and a bottle of UV ink.
Wow, we got all that? Oh.
I'll take the ultraviolet ink.
Well, now that was the one I was least excited about. Exactly. So the thing is, what's your stance regarding inventory puzzles? So, for example, do you prefer to have multiple items, multiple useless items in your inventory, and then have the player figure out the solution by trying everything on everything? Or do you want to keep the inventory as focused as possible by having only things that can actually be used for something useful in the game?
Right, that's a great question. Well, I like the idea of the latter, but I went with the prior because it really felt I felt like I would just endlessly frustrate the player by giving rejections as to why Oliver wouldn't pick something up. And obviously they exist. I mean, he's not going to pick up everything, but there came a point where there's just certain objects that wouldn't have a use, but there'd be no reason that Oliver wouldn't pick it up unless without giving the sense that Oliver just somehow knew that he won't need it. So I erred on the side of just let him take it. The price to pay for that is, a handful of red herrings, let's say. But yeah, I didn't want to have him only pick up what he needs because I felt like the game was getting ahead of the player when I did that.
Awesome. That's a better solution because, the mantra of picking up everything that's not bolted down is supposed to be an essential part of any adventure game.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. It feels nervy. I think the tendency nowadays, speaking of playing it safe in films, I think with adventure games, there is a tendency right now to play it safe and to make it just as easy and breezy and intuitive as possible, all of which, I'm trying to strike that chord while also there's got to be room left for like aha moments and like little dopamine hits. Like, I figured the thing out. Because if you're just like, that's what you need in this room, that's what you need over here, and you're probably going to combine the two things you have. It's like it robs the player as like those cool little I did it moments.
I agree. For example, in Return to Monkey Island, I love the fact that you could walk around with multiple inventory items. Like you'd accumulate more and more and not lose any of them. By the end of the game, you'd have to scroll down to see your entire inventory, and most of it was kind of useless. But I didn't like the fact that you couldn't use everything on everything. So, for example, if you try to use something on something else and that's not the right solution, then Guybrush wouldn't say nah or give you a soundbite of him saying why it's not the right solution. The UI would tell you you'd have a red X over that interaction with that object, so you couldn't even click on it. So, for example, I don't know, you try to use a mug on something on screen, then you could just move the cursor around and see the locations on which there's a huge red X and know that you can interact with it without actually clicking. So I didn't like that because I didn't get that aha moment, because the only interaction I could do is the correct one, while I was deprived of all of the other interactions that I used to like in these games of me trying everything on everything.
Right. I'm glad you added that in part there because I was starting to think maybe that could be something I could do in the next game because I think ultimately with adventure games there's so many things such as the user interface where like there just isn't a perfect solution out there, and you're just trying to find like the lesser of evils in a sense. So the way you're describing it, I like that because there's not a lot of inventory combination in the game, but there is times when you do. So it's like trying to strike that balance of like, signaling to the player like, hey, you're not going to do this a lot, but don't cross it off. Like definitely still try or think about it. And yeah, that's a tough one to find balance with.
Okay, can I pick up the guitar?
I don't want to sing it. I said maybe. Look, it's an Oasis joke. I'm not doing
I
it.
get it.
Okay, thank you. It's the only.
I think you didn't want to. I thought that you didn't want to sing it because of copyright issues.
It is the only time period incorrect joke in the game, and I was like, I'm leaving it. I like it too much. But
Well, it's great.
I did a lot of Googling and yeah, did a lot of research. But the game takes place vaguely in like 88 to 92. I never really say um, to both be cryptic and give myself wiggle room. But yeah, that's the one that probably shouldn't be in there.
Okay, so let me ask you this. As the game's writer, why did you decide to go with that time period? My theory on why so many TV shows and movies take place in the early 90s and 80s is because nowadays you can solve each and every problem with a smartphone or an app. So basically, there's nothing to do. Like when you rewatch Seinfeld, all of the issues they come across can be solved by, calling each other on the phone. So I always thought that writers prefer to use the 80s and the 90s as the time periods in which the plot takes place, is because you'd have the problems of those days without the solutions of nowadays. Is that the
And
reason?
that's exactly the reason. Exactly it. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of like, having Oliver not reject picking everything up, like I just, yeah, the least rejection lines possible. And yeah, there would be just that moment of like, just look it up, man. And yeah, that's completely the reason. The cherry on top would be just, I really do like that aesthetic and I don't know, the idea of, I guess that's all nostalgia, but yeah, that's the logistical reason, and there's like a tiny emotional supplemental reason, which is just liking the idea of this era of like VHS tapes and yeah, that whole aesthetic. It
It's
helps.
the
I guess it helps match the mood and like the music and 80s synths and things like that. It's yeah, it's 5% aesthetic and 95% logic because of smartphones.
okay. Is this the radio?
Yeah.
Wait, let me turn on the volume. Wow, at first I thought it was Girl in the Tower from King's Quest 6.
That's fair. That's fair.
Wait, is there something on the wall over here? This room is named after the bed I keep it in. Hey, I like that one. Okay, so we use the phone. Can we use the phone again? I don't have anyone to call, or the 16 minutes it takes to dial a number on this. Did you use a rotary phone in your lifetime?
Yes. Yeah. I was probably like under 10 years old. So somewhere around 10-ish we upgraded. But yeah, there was definitely one around.
Me too.
Oh, hey Engelbert.
Need something?
What is a man if without pageantry?
I heard you use that on Anna yesterday. Anna from the Gamers Guild podcast.
Ah, nuts.
Are you trying to make this your thing? Stop trying to force a new thing.
I already tried that. It wasn't my thing.
Shall we?
Let's shall.
Oh, nice. How'd you do the motion blur? In Photoshop?
I don't remember. Yeah, no, I use a Pixel app on iOS called Pixaki. So that's where all the little animations come from. And if anybody watching or is interested, if you already have an iPad with the pencil, Pixaki I think is the best solution for doing pixel art. Because you don't have to buy like a Wacom Wacom thing, and like it's just I mean, ultimately, if you don't have one, probably just get a Wacom because it's going to be $1,000 either way. But if you happen to already have an iPad with the pencil, Pixaki is an awesome app for doing any pixel art, including animations.
And Pixaki is also an awesome name for an app.
Right? Yeah.
Hey, One Short Eye is in the chat. He says, "Land beyond dreams for life." I agree. King's Quest 7 is the best King's Quest. No one can convince me otherwise. But I see that you're trying to convince me that King's Quest 6 is better. Boom. I can read your mind.
I'm a King's Quest 4 kind of guy. Yeah. I love
Well,
the
at least we
Apollon.
both like the Rosella themed games.
Right, that's fair. I still haven't played 7.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
It's
You
it's
know
tough.
what?
It's tough when the Sierra crowd is telling you not to bother with the game. Where I'm like, oh really? Okay.
Yeah, but you shouldn't take the Sierra Crowd's word for it, because they like constant deaths and dead ends. So once you get a King's Quest game without dead ends, and you can die, but you have the try again button. So
That's factual. We're a bunch of masochists, basically. So it's the notion of being able to enjoy yourself, forget it.
that's why I like King's Quest 7 so much, because it's the most LucasArtsy King's Quest out there. And it's celebrating its 30th anniversary next month.
Oof. No, that sells me. Because nowadays, when I hear a LucasArts like Sierra game, like that's actually a good sales pitch. I'm kind of, because then I feel like I can play it without a walkthrough. Because any the few Sierra games I haven't played yet, like Iceman, or even a more revered game like Conquest of Camelot, I'm like I'm just gonna be a lot of bull stuff in that game. Sorry for the bull stuff.
Never played
yeah.
Conquest of Camelot. And so now you see, I had to slap that peacock. It was to win a woman's heart.
Well, you took the long way around, but you eventually justified the bird violence. Anyway, I don't know much about the case other than it's a grumpy old cowboy who says his barn is haunted.
A haunted barn. Classic. We'll get to the bottom of it.
That's so us too. We're being so us right now.
Wait. So I can't walk anywhere?
Yeah, this was a bold choice that I made, but I'm like, the player hasn't gotten to click in a minute. I'm going to let them click on the door for some reason. But yeah, you're pretty much pigeonholed there until you click on the door.
So are you going to
Oh,
knock
there's
on
the
the
reminder.
door? Or are you just going to stand there, mouth breathing? Wait. The door finds itself knocked. Now that's enough of that. Hold your dang horses, I'm coming. Hey, looks cool. With the lighting.
Thank you. I knocked once.
You struck the door with your hand twice.
Yeah, that's one knock. A knock is 2 swift strikes to the door. If I hit it 4 times, that would be a pair of knocks.
A gentleman's pair of knocks is 6 blows to the door.
Blows? 6 blows to the door? What are you, the police? 4 knocked. Good evening, sir.
I better get 50% off. I ain't paying for 2 fellers if you're gonna send just one.
Sorry, I don't understand.
I thought I called the Phantom fellers, not the Phantom fella.
Awkward. Sorry. It's just me. My name is Oliver. I didn't really think the name through.
It's fine.
Actually, that's not true. I kind of did.
I don't.
It was just easier to say I didn't. I want to stop doing that, though.
I'll just pay full price.
See, it's an inside joke, but not a single living person would get it.
I hope you're better with the dead than you are with the alive.
So what's going on? You said your barn is haunted?
Yeah, I reckon there's long been something funny going on in that barn. See, sometimes when someone gets near the old gelding in there, things start flying across the dang room. And other times, that same horse just starts to act all kind of strange, all on its lonesome. Like he got a hive of bees on his back. Anyway, we're supposed to host a kid's birthday party here tomorrow, and I can't have the kids getting scared. We need the money them camps and parties bring in.
I understand. Well, let me see what I can do. If you don't mind, I'll go investigate the barn.
Be my guest. Just don't touch the dang thermostat.
Wait, what? In the barn?
And no dancing.
Look, I'll just let you know if I have any questions.
Eh.
All right, let's have a look around. Let me know if you see a ghost.
I shall, and remember to talk to me. And remember to talk to me if you need any information or help. I love that Anna is attacking us on both fronts, and she joined the Twitch chat as well. Ooh.
Okay, I got the log, but I won't be able to hold much more. I'm just kidding. I can hold like so much more.
List in your pocket.
Now I'm good for now. The ones on the ground usually have angry spiders on them somewhere.
I think that's why FMV games died, because with graphic point-and-click adventure games, you can have your suspension of disbelief that the character can hold a log in his pocket. But when you get to FMV games, it's kind of weird to see a character pulling out a hammer from her back pocket, like with Phantasmagoria 1, or a metal box from his pocket in Phantasmagoria 2.
Right, I like that. Because there's this potential to just really overthink it or really overanalyze it, but it could just be something that simple as a carrot top like bag of tricks.
Yeah, so for example in Toonstruck, even though it's an FMV game, then they explain the fact that you can hold so many items in your inventory by having it called a bottomless bag, and that's your inventory. So bottomless bag, that's fine.
It's locked. Engelbert, can you pass through it and have a look around for me?
I would prefer not to. Ghosts can slightly taste what they pass through. Imagine tasting that old cowboy's hand oil. Oh, Jesus.
Fair enough. I'll try the door that cars are supposed to use. Sorry, Pickles. It's locked. Looks like you're having that door for dinner.
First of all, you only get to call me Pickles once a year, and today is not my birthday or my death day. And I know I said first of all, but I did not have a second thing.
Fantastic. Well, I'll wait here for you. Do not be afraid to bring me back something nice.
Ooh. Can I walk around? Wow. Hey, I think this is the background I used. Wait.
Oh, yeah.
Boop.
It's the thing from the game. Yeah.
No, I need to walk further, I presume, to the stables. Are the stables over here? Is there a sign that says, oh, here it is. Oh, wait. Come on. That's it. Okay. There it is. Well done. Yay. Achievement unlocked.
Yeah.
So Anna in the chat says that you didn't play Toonstruck, Paul.
I did. No, I did. I played it for an episode that we did together.
The property ends here. It would be wise to stay within the confines of the farm. Okay. No, for I recall a young alienist who once said, beware of unearned wisdom. What's this? It's both a mushroom and an insufficient light source. Exit.
I was so excited to find out that glowing mushrooms were real. Because I wanted to put them in the game, and I was like, the game's like, I can't just go rogue now and put some, something that just doesn't exist in the game, because it is a somewhat realistic world. And then I found out there's such thing as a I don't know its scientific name, but there's something called like a ghost mushroom, and they straight up glow. I mean, they're not in Colorado, but it was enough for me to put them in there.
Wow. You did your own research.
Very, very nerdy. Had to get down to every little nerdy detail on this one.
And you also have a scrolling screen. That used to be a big deal back in the day.
Right.
Like you'd have the option to disable the scrolling screens in case your computer couldn't handle the complexity of scrolling a 320 by 200 image. Or
that's wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so even in King's Quest VII, which is considered like a modern game, even though it's celebrating its 30th anniversary, it was released in 1994 and it was a CD-ROM game, but you could still choose in the option whether or not you wanted to have the scrolling screen or to have screens switching whenever you'd reach the end of the room.
That's pretty cool. I had no idea you could switch that out.
Okay, I can literally feel nothing. So I need to walk through the door?
Yeah, you can interact on it. Unfortunately, the glow makes his sprite a little bigger than it actually looks. So yeah, maybe go for like the top corner of the door or something like that.
Top corner of this door? Not the garage door. This door.
Yeah, that door, yeah. Yeah, something I hope to figure out for the next time around. Because when his sprites, like the parts of the glow, like the end of the gradient, are still like part of the sprite, but you can't see it. So if you click on just like, yeah, it's hard to explain, but yeah, something I hope to figure out next time.
No, I understand. But why does he need a hitbox or hit area?
Right, that's a great point. Actually, it's a very fair question. I haven't asked myself in 4 years. Right, he would only need one if you were Oliver. He wouldn't necessarily need to touch or speak to himself. Yeah, thank you for that. I think that's precisely what I'll do for next game.
No problem. You can also fix this game. Just release an update.
Yeah, because honestly, to expand on that, I just spent like 4 hours the other day. One of the bigger bugs that streamers and people have found since it came out, like a soft lock, was related to Engelbert talking to himself, and it shouldn't have been allowed to have happened, and it did, and it caused a huge issue. And it's so your solution would fix a cascade of things I've been chasing around the script for a while. It's a great idea. Thanks.
It's a good thing we had this live stream,
right?
And you also realized that you can use the Alt Enter keyboard shortcut in order to switch between full screen and window mode.
Yeah, that's a whole day you saved me on that, because I would need like art and stuff for the control panels about it.
Okay. Why touch what I cannot feel? Okay, so I'm over here, so I'll probably use this. I cannot see a reason to cut the power, however, I'm not above it. I love the fact that his inventory is neon-like. And the top menu is also.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that was fun to make too. Well, that was the first moment I had where I'm like, the game started to feel like its own game. You know, it broke free of the AGS template.
Wait, I want to figure out this puzzle, and then I want to ask you something about AGS. Whoa! Where'd he go? Huh. Oliver must have spotted the barfly and frolicked off. Yup. Gonna talk to him. Boo. Ouch, dang skitters. I will just assume that was me. Wait, can I go through this door as well? No, but if it comes down to it, I can always cartoonishly float through the mail slot.
Some things I think about for the next game, because I want to keep the world intact for the next Phantom Fellows game, and like it might be fun to expand on the previous locations, like let players maybe go into that house or things like this. Try to create some sort of open world feel.
Since the beginning of this conversation, you always talked about the next game, but now you said that the next game might be a second Phantom Fellows game. That's what you meant? A sequel to this game?
Yeah.
Did you start working on it?
Not really. I'm yes and no. I'm gonna really structure these with discipline. Start working on it next month. Kind of giving myself this month to coast a little bit, but I've got a lot of it fleshed out. I'm starting to make like a template off of this game to build the next one with, and like I'll put it this way. I know it's gonna be 3 days instead of 7. So that way it's a smaller game. I can get it done a little quicker. And I already know exactly what those 3 days will be, like each case and location.
Wow. Awesome. And about AGS, the thing I wanted to ask you is regarding the limitations of AGS, did you notice any limitations that you had to deal with that made you need to change something in the game or change the plot in a way to fit that limitation, whether it's a technical limitation or some other type of limitation there's in the engine?
Yeah, very good question. It was a little hairy in the beginning because on paper it didn't look like I was going to be able to do this perspective, this left to right only perspective, where I mean Engelbert does float upwards, but for the most part you just walk on the x-axis there. There's no, you just walk left and right for the most part. And on paper AGS was basically saying like one thin little walkable line probably wouldn't work, but it did, miraculously, and so that was the only real concern. And then other than that, AGS just has some funny things about it mostly related to the save state. It's a kind of a pain in the butt. Like you have to, adding any new variable will break the save state. Adding kind of anything breaks the save state, like any GUI, any character. You can add objects to the room, but like if the player has already been in the room, then the room will crash. So that's a lot. That's annoying. Like on release, I made a spare everything, a couple of spare dialogues, a couple of spare characters, a couple of spare GUIs, and then I put in I think 80 integers and booleans, like just spare variables, so that when people inevitably find bugs, at least I have some to work with and to fix it without breaking everybody's save state. So that's my only real complaint, I guess you'd say, about AGS, is that the save states are really fragile.
Wow. So that's great forward thinking with the extra variables.
Thank you. Thanks, man. Yeah, and I get a little jealous of some of the other like I don't know, Visionaire Studio and Adventure Game Maker for Unity, where they can like press a button and it compiles for Mac. And for me, it's like 3 hours to compile. Every time there's a soft lock, and anytime there's an update that I just need to do, like when we're done with the stream, I have to push an update to the game because somebody found Pushing Up Roses found something in day 3 that like needs to be fixed, and it's like, dang. Because the whole process would otherwise be an hour, but because of the Mac port, it takes a while. I have to like compile it with a CMake, and anyway.
Gotcha. It's an old dusty cowboy's hat that is light enough for me to carry. Wait, but he carried the wheel as well.
He rolled it. Yeah, he was annoying about it, but he rolled it. It's. The idea here is like, actually, does that spoil things?
Don't spoil anything.
Yeah, it might. He can carry light things, and then he's averse to paper because he'll water damage the paper. And obviously that's more boundary setting for the game, so that Engelbert doesn't end up and actually you notice with the garage door where he was like I don't want to, we taste what we pass through, which is both potential for, you know, jokes later in the game that a ghost could taste anything that's in them, but it also helps set some boundaries too, because I didn't want to have a situation where Engelbert's like Superman, where they can just do everything, so what's the point of puzzles?
So in the 4 years that you worked on the game, were there any features that you struggled with at first, but then AGS just released an update that had that feature implemented in it?
Yeah, there was a big one really recently. Because I was always told not to update your AGS engine mid-development, to just ride out what you started on. And I did that for 3 years. And then about a year ago, not even that, I think in like March, I did update it and like just prayed and crossed my fingers and miraculously compiled with no issues. But pausing music. The original build, you couldn't just pause music. And a really recent update allowed you to. And it's one of those, it's stupid, but it was a cool moment for me because I was really struggling with it. I really needed a solution for this. And I was like, God, I wish I could just pause it. Like, that's all I need to do is pause the music. And then sure enough, in the release updates, like the month before that, they had just addressed it and allowed you to pause music. So, yeah.
So you upgraded the game engine a month before release, after announcing the release date?
Let's see. It was probably about, this would have been like, probably in like April. So a couple months before release.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's fine, because you had wiggle room when it came to, like, you know, postponing the release for 4 months because you upgraded the game's engine. Same thing goes for streaming. They tell you not to upgrade OBS before a stream, but I always do, like 5 minutes before the stream. I'm living
just
on
to
the
feel
edge.
Alive.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I ask myself what to do? Little lead-based paint that will put hair on your chest, like it or not. Can I talk to the poster? Pardon me, madam in the picture on the poster. Could you spare any ideas on what I should be doing? Come on, poster, speak to me. Say something. Geez, alright, stop yelling. Here's a clue for you. Fire is hot. Thanks, woman in a poster who might be a fragment part of my own mind. No problem, probably me, but maybe a ghost man with a nice hat. Okay, fire is hot. Hey, I got the poster girl achievement.
I love that you thought to do that, man. That was credit to Anna too. That was Anna's idea way back in the day. She's like, you should have it so we could talk to the girl on the poster, and then it became a thing because there's way later in the game there's other paintings and people, you know, paintings or otherwise of people that Engelbert talked to, and that notion of it being a fragmented part of his personality kind of builds into its own little side gag.
Wow. So so this is my first achievement in the game out of 100 achievements. So either I'm really bad at this game or I missed all of them up to this point.
Let's see. If you died in day 1, that would have been one. I think you've missed only 3 that I can think of. There's a few from messing around in the bedroom and then the death. And that's where, as far as Steam having 100 and GOG having 150, GOG gives you achievements for non-optional things as well. So you would have got one like my first exorcism.
Gotcha.
After Russ goes in the wall.
These are achievements that are usually used by developers as sort of analytics to see how many people reach the end of chapter 1, the end of chapter 2.
Right, exactly. And even the non-optional ones are I guess it's not really analytics in like a useful way. It's just really fun to know what people are doing. Like how many, especially if it's there's a few achievements that I just really like the joke, and it was a hard joke to find, and I just want to know who found it.
Okay. So I got the hat from this location. I'm moving on to the next location. And... Wait, fire is hot. Maybe I can burn the hat. Can I use the hat? Nobody likes a wet surprise. No. Okay. Oh man.
You
Can
can
I go-
interact with that gate. Yeah.
Can I go through the front door?
No, if you go back to the stables room and switch the hand cursor, and you can interact with the gate that way. Just a little more down.
Back in my day, a sign was just a man screaming words at you until he paid or shot someone. Okay, so we have the exit. Talking about
There you
this. Where am I? Okay, look.
Look, I'll get you the crop, but I don't see why you also want warm oil. Suggestive horse noises.
Oliver Cobblestone, what are you doing?
Huh? Nothing.
And Dublin, what say you? Unintelligible, horse denial. While you were here defying the rules of nature, I was recovering this delightful hat for you.
You're the best, Engelbert. Hand it over.
Boop. Here, take it.
Thanks, man. Ew. It's all clammy. Nobody talks about how moist ghosts are. Like, kids should stop wearing white bed sheets and just trick or treat sweaty.
But no, we are very wet people. I'm going to go look for the occupant. I will find you when I find him or her.
Sounds good. I'm gonna just, touch all the stuff.
Trying to take anything? You kleptomaniac. Okay. So, in this point of the game, so for example, when I was the ghost, then the poster was supposed to be my hint system, and now I don't have a hint system.
Right. Yes. This is the I guess the only period in the whole game you're kind of on your own without Engelbert, because so it's not spoilery enough to worry about, but the player swap ability is about to unlock, and then once it unlocks, it's open throughout the whole game.
Okay. So do I have a lasso? Is this a lasso? No, it's a hose. A hose.
Got the lead
Cancel.
rope.
Oof.
No thanks. I don't want to need that.
I don't want to need that. What's this?
A bridle with a snaffle bit and a copper roller. Fancy.
Okay.
Nah, I'm good. I don't... Wait a second. Hey, there's some lighter fluid in here. Yoink.
Yoink! Now, one of the things that made adventure games easier back in the day is the fact that the background artists worked on the background images, and the animators would usually work on the items that you interacted with. And so it was pretty obvious which item in each scene would be interactable. But this is better because the items seem to be part of the background, so you don't know what you can interact with, and that goes with the entire, with the entire mantra of everything's a hotspot.
Right. Yeah, thank you for that. And that's really cool, too. I had no idea that the animators did the objects, because you're right, there was always this... It was just so blatant. Like, the object was always just oddly saturated and just almost popping out of the
Yeah,
screen.
like in the
that's thing I need.
Flintstones. Like in those old cartoons, you also had that because the background
Yeah.
was drawn in a different manner. It was more, the colors were more muted for the background, while the items that the characters and the characters themselves were more prominent in that scene.
Right.
So well done, Paul.
Thank you. Nah, I already took the yellow one, but I do wish I had shopped around first. So, you'll have to forgive me, I've never been in a horse's home before. I don't know anyone here, I don't fit in at all, and I'm just kind of embarrassed. Hey now, you can't prove that.
Ooh. I've hit the mother load. Let's see.
Why are all the tools for training horses so kinky?
Let's take all of them.
This is for training horses, and frankly, I'm not in the mood to get kicked in the chest tonight. I don't really mess around with anything below the Muckmaster 3000 line of quality products. It has barnacles on it. How? Why? All this and more tonight on No, I'm Not Touching That Thing. Nah, besides, I'd need 2 of them to make proper raisin cereal.
Is this hay?
Might as well help myself to some of this itchy food. Got some. I'm not taking any feed unless I'm dressed as a zombie horse yelling, "Grains! Grains!"
Okay, so I have hay and lighter fluid and a lead rope and a hose, a log, cowboy's hat, your black light, not just a black light, ultraviolet reactive liquid. Hey, I can use the ultraviolet reactive liquid with something that I might use the flashlight on. Someone's belt. Okay. This is fun.
Yay.
Okay.
There's one thing you missed in the room. You want me to tell you for progression's sake?
Yeah.
Okay,
the red.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You got it.
Get the used
Got
clothes.
the used clothes. Man, I love thrifting.
And so anyway, that's how I died arm wrestling a warthog. Well, I'm sorry you died such a hilarious death. So listen, my friend and I would be extremely grateful if you would consider relocating. What do you think? We could help you find a new barn if you want to be around horses. I reckon the only horse I want to be around is my old bay horse, Dublin. In fact, all I really want is to sit up on him one last time. Tell him I'm gonna be alright and to keep on keeping on. Well, what is keeping you from sitting on him right now? Anytime I try, it causes him to do all kinds of fussing. I'm too dead for his liking, too cold, too damp. Yeah, I really did not expect the afterlife to be so moist. Yeah, I reckon it's a pretty swampy existence. Tell you what, if we find a way to get you up on your horse one last time, will you agree to leave this stable in exchange? I'll do you one better. You find a way to get me on Dublin and I'll leave this whole mortal plane behind. It is a deal then. I am going to go find my breather friend and work this thing out for you. Oh, I never did get your name. Name's Johnny Wildcard. Nice to meet you, Mr. Wildcard. My name is Engelbert Picklebender, and I will come find you when we have an idea. I better go find Oliver so we can figure this thing out. Awesome. Can I pick something here? Pick up something? I have found the occupant. His name is Johnny Wildcard, and we need to figure out a way to get him on his horse's back one last time, without the horse throwing a fit. Horses love fits.
Well then, clearly the next logical step is to go have a word with this horse.
What? That is not... No. That is not how any of this works.
Well, I'm out of ideas.
You will maybe think of something. Ooh. I got the character swap option. Get my second achievement. Is it F1 and F2?
Yeah.
Wow, look at... So the dead have their hands wiggling like this, and the breathers are pointing at things.
That was a happy accident. So, those hand icons is actually the creation of Adam. the whole hand of God touching Adam and Michelangelo, I think, is the painter. But yeah, so those are the two hands from the creation of Adam. But it just so happened to work that the ghost has an almost zombie-like pose to it, and I guess that'd be Adam's hand. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So wait, if I'm Engelbert, then he won't follow me. But if I'm... Okay, gotcha. Let's talk to the horse. Wait, I'll talk to the horse with Engelbert. Huh? My apologies, could you repeat that? Unintelligible horse sounds. Oh, I thought you were talking to me. How do I always manage to embarrass myself around horses? Oh wait, I can ask for a hint.
What's his name again?
Johnny Wildcard.
Did Johnny tell you anything else that might be helpful?
He did mention that the horse gets spooked because he's naturally cold and damp.
Probably doesn't help that the horse can't see him coming. Like it has no idea anything is near him, let alone about to get on his back.
That is a very good point. I would escalate the fact that Johnny is invisible to the main obstacle preventing him from mounting his horse. Mine for ideas. Do you have any...
Sorry.
No,
any
go
suggestions?
ahead. You really want to help? You really want to help already? Yup.
I do, and I don't appreciate the way you slipped in that little already at the end there.
Well, perhaps if we had some sort of prop, like a dummy or an avatar of a cowboy, then the horse would know someone's present and on its back.
Okay, so we just need a warm, dry cowboy mannequin.
Those are 4 words I never thought I would ever hear. I would hear used together again. But yes, start by seeing if you can put something together with the things you take from around the farm.
Oh, come on, so now I'm building something?
No, you're crafting something by hand.
Oh, well, okay then. No, I love the idea. Alright, I'll go see what I can find I'll go see what I can find /think/do.
Okay, personally, I plan to become and remain surprisingly unhelpful. Okay, so we have the cowboy hat. And we need to build the rest of the body. Okay, now pick up the anvil.
And I'd really like to, but also what do I even do with the resting piece of metal?
Come on, be creative. Okay, we reached the 2-hour mark. Can you stick around for another 10 minutes or so?
Definitely.
Awesome.
I can't believe it's been 2 hours. Went by really quickly.
Okay, so let's finish this stream with a bang. Tell me what to do.
Okay. Optionally, you can talk to the farmer, but to progress, go into the inventory and see if you can build a little scarecrow.
Ooh, I already have all of the items.
Yeah.
The log, the rope.
Bam. And now go left 2 screens and we're going to build a fire. One more left.
No, we have these logs.
Yeah, we're good. You can actually exit left here. It was a very late stage addition to the game. I'm like, I might as well make a loop.
Okay.
Okay.
So now I can use the lighter fluid.
Fluid is in the fire pit, but I still need something to burn.
Burn. We can use the log. Do I need more hay?
No, you're good. I think that hit Oliver instead of the pit, just barely.
Remove the hitbox for Oliver. Wood
is in the pit. I don't think it suspects anything is up. I'm going to need something to help start the fire. The wood is too damp. I had nothing to do with that. If only we knew somebody who has a very high probability of having matches on them at all times. We could ask for one.
Hey, the old cowboy sure likes to smoke. Let's go ask him.
For what?
Ugh. So, the interesting part of modern adventure games is that since they started implementing the universal hint system, then characters wouldn't give you hints voluntarily. You need to ask for hints. Because, for example, in LucasArts adventure games from the 90s, at a certain point, if you tried something too many times, then one of the characters would give you a hint. Like a pretty obvious hint. But nowadays, you don't get any hints unless you ask for them.
Right. Right. Good point. Yeah, because I almost feel like the most gentle of hints should be initial, like without doing anything. Like if only we knew, like something like that. Like give them a little. Oh, and there she is.
Hi there. Dad says he will be in a minute. He will be a minute. Can I help you?
Hi, hey. Yeah, no, I was just wondering if you perhaps had any matches I could borrow.
You won't believe this, but yes. I just so happen to have some on me. I very much do believe it. Here you go.
I'm Oliver, by the way.
Hi, Oliver. I'm Zoe. Nice to meet you. Zoe, that's the 3rd window this month. And you melted my dang popsicles. Again. I'm sorry, I have to go.
Nuts.
For somebody we have barely met, I am quite obsessed with her.
Indeed, old chum. We must learn more about her.
Next time I see Johnny, I will ask him for the scoop on Zoe.
You're too good to me.
I know. I am the one who conditioned you to think that.
Alright, let's make a fire.
Wow, this fire is amazing.
Oh, thank you. I might have slightly burned my pinky, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you hear about it. Like, a lot. Mostly. You're mostly going to hear about this one thing that just happened to me.
I wonder if Prometheus was this whiny.
If you want to, you can die here.
Do I need to save?
No.
Okay, let's die. Wait. Are you sure? I'm a bit old-fashioned. Oh. So I need to do it with him.
Yeah, and then just one more time. Engelbert kind of warns for the rest of the day. Yeah, there we go. I now have the burning log.
Why are you like this?
Fire is useful. This might be useful.
And I love the fact that you added the lighting effect in the...
Thank you for noticing that. I appreciate that.
I worry that your rising temperature may cause your internal system to discontinue their functions.
Sorry, I can't hear you right now over all the dying I'm doing.
Fair enough, I will allow you to incinerate in peace then. Wow.
Yeah, you know what? This was a mistake. And really, actually, never mind. I'll probably just see you again in a minute anyway.
I got my third achievement. Sick burn, dude.
Okay, now you want to heat up that scarecrow.
That's right. But not too much. Nice and
Oh,
toasty.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Better hurry, though. It'll only stay warm for a really long time.
Okay.
And grab those pink, that pink pixely, yeah, mother shoes. Why not say it? Where did these little shoes come from?
They have been here the whole time. I was kind of surprised you walked right past them before without noticing them.
Well, I think they're delightful, and I'm keeping them.
What are you on, goofballs? Put those down.
What are you talking about? Literally all we need is shoes. It's meant to be.
Meant to be in a police report is where they is what they are.
Nailed it.
Wait, so were they here this entire time?
They technically were. They increase in opacity by 10 every room enter, as if to gaslight the player. Sorry about my son there.
Wait, so if I pick them up the first time I enter the room, then I won't have this interaction with Engelbert?
No, you still will. Yeah, you would have to know they were there the first time, but you can start slightly seeing them on the second enter onwards.
Gotcha. I do not know.
It's okay, buddy. It's not at all useful information anyway.
All right, I must know. What was with if you're barefoot, wear shoes bit on the phone earlier?
Nobody wants to see unkempt man feet. You can taste the smell.
Thank you, Paul. Just the...
It's a chore. Looking at them is a chore.
This game is so relatable. Just because your standard of foot care is disproportionately higher than the rest of your...
Hey, my feet are pristine.
I am aware.
Angelic, even.
I cannot believe that I agree.
Softer than the hair on the nape of a baby's neck.
I know, but it is an unrealistic standard, and I think that
if your toenails are yellow like the smoking room in an airport, you need to cover them up. I agree.
I think that we should get on with the case.
You're a case.
Hey,
Thank
fussy
you.
toes.
Thank you for getting that, Daniel. I swear, I've watched many streamers play by now, and I've never seen anybody actually connect with that until now. I deeply appreciate that.
Well, you streamers from countries with hotter weathers then see more people wear flip-flops on a daily basis than, colder countries. countries with. We already talked about the weather before the live stream. So over here, people tend to wear flip-flops everywhere, to work, to the supermarket, to wherever. And it bugs me so much.
Thank you. Because now that explains to me,
sneakers.
I got this from living in Florida then. That's exactly where it comes from. Right. Thank you. Yeah.
Once you get your fair share of men wearing flip-flops everywhere you go, that's when you
Right.
get a whole new perspective on what men should or shouldn't wear. Okay.
All right. Middle door is where you're going to want to go in.
Hashtag, Anna says, hashtag Florida feet. Let's make this go viral. Okay.
So head into the middle stall door, and I'm going to quickly ask my boy to stop yelling.
Okay. Johnny is in here with us. Do not be weird. My vampire name is Ejacula. Wow. Well done on the Ejacula.
Thank you.
Never mind. Okay, so I need to switch.
Oh, so no, you're good as Oliver. Use the scarecrow on the support beam there.
On the support beam. Okay.
All right, let's slap some shoes on this abomination and wrap this up.
Well then, take them off.
No way. I'll get calluses. I'll figure something else out.
Go ahead. Delay the inevitable.
And then pink shoes on the scarecrow.
Oh, that's right.
I told you, meant to be.
Still strange and somewhat seedy. Okay, Johnny. Do you think this could pass for you? No way. Not with them shoes it can't. And it's not the color. The color is glorious. Like summer's first strawberry. It's the size. Too dainty. Kinda off-putting. Done a good job with it until this point. Let's do a bit better than doll boy shoes for the finale. I will translate that all to you, but let me warn you. It is dead language. Boo.
Boo.
Oh, sorry. Hey now! That's our word. So long story short, shoes, and also he just does not like you. Says it in the face.
Wonderful. Well, what are we supposed to do now?
First of all, you need to wipe your fingerprints off those shoes and burn them. Yeah, he does. Second, well, you know what second is.
Nope, no.
Take,
I'm not wearing socks, though.
yo,
The shoes are lined. They're lined.
shoes off.
Fine, Great. Now I'm gonna have cracked heels.
Johnny, it's already for you. Dublin will feel a warm, itchy body on top of him, and you can hop right on.
I'll go get the horse and lead him in here.
Well, I can't thank you boys enough. I've waited many long years to sit on my horse and say goodbye. It's been our pleasure, Johnny. Oliver, Johnny says thank you.
Happy to help. Let's give him some space and go prepare the exorcism in the empty stall. All right, let's set up a little light show so our grumpy cowboy friend knows it's okay to cut that check.
Should I use the chalk again? We don't. I'll use the UV.
Yeah. And I'll use the chalk animation. Okay, I'll go get the homeowner. Engelbert, darling, can you ask Johnny if I can have my shoes back?
Johnny, can we use the shoes? Sure. He said no.
Fine, I'll go get them barefoot, but I'm not gonna be all happy or animated about it.
Okay, I'll hang back and see what Johnny knows about Zoe.
Thanks, Ingy. I'm back and I have the cowboy.
Huh? Me?
By the way, sorry I squeezed your breast when I tripped. I should have turned the lights off after we were in here.
Just get on with it already.
So the spirit was evicted right here in the wall. With some ultraviolet light, you'll be able to see the imprint it left on the physical world as it re-entered the void. Or whatever.
Again, I'm just an old chunk of coal, but I have to say, watching that girl make terrible choices has grown weary on me. I just want to grab her by the shoulders, look her dead in the eyes and say, David is a great guy. Why do you hate happiness, you know? Yeah, no, totally. Like, sure, you cannot grate cheese on his abs like Chad, but Chad is rude to servers. And we ain't talking about her behind her back. We're just talking about her while she's not here. Yeah, it is somehow not the same thing, even though it is technically the same thing. Well, thanks for everything, Picklebender. I got closure now on all fronts, and I am finally free to move on from here. No more mattering echoes from his shattered old this shattered old mind of mine. Heck, I hope that you find yours someday, partner. Thank you. And when my mission here is complete, I plan to. Till then, let me offer you the best piece of wisdom I heard in my time here. Whether you're starting a cult or raising a child, be as soft as possible and as firm as necessary. Oh, come on, I ain't got all morning.
Oh my god, you are adorable when you first wake up.
Right, hey, since you are about to pass through anyway, and before my idiot friend shines a flashlight on a puddle of glowing juice, would you mind? Sure thing, partner. I would miss a chance to mess with the crusty old farmer anyway. Thanks. It's just he thinks he's good at this, and it would break his... Say no more. I'm happy to oblige. Plus, your friend, he looks like he needs a win. Oh. Well, that is just his face. He has a resting, I need a win face. Take her easy, Engelbert.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today.
Okay, Cobblestone, light it up.
By the powers possibly vested in me.
My god. So they do exist. I'll admit it. I'm in the ketchup. You've done some good work here tonight, son. And did you see the door knocker on that ghost?
Well, I've never heard a lot of those words used in that order before, but thanks. All in a night's work, sir.
I have to be honest with you. I didn't think you'd actually produce results. That said, use the last of my private reserve. Cascaged lighter fluid. Then, as I sifted through the fire pit, I was shocked at what I found. You burned my favorite log. I was gonna heat the house with that, and now I have to turn the dang thermostat up. Oh boy. I'm afraid I'll have to deduct the cost of those out of your pay. Now get off my land and don't come back till you have the hundreds of dollars you owe me.
You can't be serious.
I'll tell you what, when you return with my money, you can have a free pony ride.
Wait. You have ponies here?
Take her easy. Who is her?
It was a suspiciously beautiful log.
If it will make you feel better, I will come back here later and gently blow in his ear when he goes pee.
Thanks, buddy. It actually would make me feel better.
How about we get you an ice cream, and head home, champ.
Sounds good. Hey, what did Johnny Wildcard look like anyway?
He looked like an old leather jacket with a knuckle for a face. He was magnificent.
Come on, let's go home.
Hey, we finished another case. Hey, Zoe. Hey.
So, how's I mean, what is a man without pageantry?
Someone who hasn't discovered themselves, or worse, is too afraid to be who they are. Or an introvert.
Zoe, would you like to eat food? Would you like to eat food while watching me eat possibly that same food in the same place at the same time as you?
I'd like that, as long as we both wipe our mouths after every single bite, and several more times throughout for no reason.
I am also scared that I'll be alone forever if somebody I like sees a tiny remnant of the food I'm eating on or around my mouth.
It's a date. And I'm going to sit on an ice cream.
Okay, so we get a quick origin story, and then it wraps.
Okay. So this is a good place to stop.
Yes.
So that we won't spoil any more of the game. Hey, got autosave. Wait, where's the cursor? Here it is. Where's my cursor? Whoa! What happened?
I'm not sure the menu was supposed to have opened in the middle of a cutscene. That's interesting. I guess if you spam it will.
Yeah,
I think you
so
found
I
something
open.
to fix it the last second. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can see the cursor, but I can save, and I need to guess where the cursor landed. Cutscene, and then guess where the cursor is, then click save. Oh my god, I did something. Okay. Now that I saved, I can switch to this scene. Okay then. Paul, this was a magnificent game so far. So thank you for sharing it with me. And hopefully I'll be able to finish it soon without any hints. Although I'm not above hints, so it's fine.
Right, yeah. Hints without hints from me, but hints from Engelbert.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how was it? Do you actually watch the live streams of people playing the game?
Not really. Pretty rarely. It's usually a little stressful because it's like you're a dad, so it's like when your kids, it's like seeing them about to get just, like fall off a thing, get slightly hurt, like you can't protect them from the world, but you want to run over and coddle them at all times, and that's a disservice to them. So when you see people streaming it and they walk just left instead of right, it's that same feeling of like, no, but then you have to just let them learn, let them, explore the world. So anyway, I battle with that when I watch people. So I ultimately try not to.
Gotcha. Okay. So again, thank you for sharing this game with me, and thank you for sharing this game with us. And I really hope to see the sequel sometime soon, so that I'll binge watch all of them at the same time, the first and the second.
Thank you. It will not be 4 years, that's for sure. Hopefully I can get, because the other thing too I should mention quickly is I think part of the reason it took 4 years is because I had to learn how to program and pixel art. So it's like it probably would have been 3 if it wasn't for just how remarkably bad I was at programming for a while there.
Well, now you got that covered, so now that you know programming and pixel art, then you can probably whip up a game in a weekend or so.
Exactly. Yeah, no big deal.
You can always do the Telltale thing of episodic gaming, like release an episode every month or so.
Right. I know I've played with that too, like maybe just release a day at a time or something. So it'll probably be 3 days, but I'm not above the day at a time thing.
Okay. So thank you again, Paul.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
It was fun. And thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.